my name is Daniel and welcome to TechTekk. In today's video we're talking about our 1 year experience of owning a Tesla Model 3. Order a Tesla today via the link in the description and you'll receive 1,000 free supercharged miles that you can use at any supercharger location. So we picked up the Tesla Model 3 in September 2019 and now we're in September 2020. We've owned the car for 1 year. And we thought it'd be a good idea just to talk through our experience of owning Tesla Model 3 and the pros and the cons and what we like and what we don't like. And our first question, what is our first question? We've written a number of questions down and we try to go through them on our journey today.
Our first question is, why did we choose a Tesla Model 3 over other cars?
Okay, well, I guess when we first was looking for a car, we were looking for a second car. I already had a car, so we were looking for something else. We were looking at petrol cars, diesel cars, we were looking at electric vehicles, but a year ago there wasn't really much available. I guess that we were looking at, what was the DS, what was that? DS3, and we wanted that in electric, but it wasn't available. And then of course, me being a tech person, I always wanted a Tesla. So we test drove the Model X. We weren't really that keen on the Model S, but of course the Model 3 wasn't quite out just yet. And then, so we decided then to test drive the Model 3. Fell in love with the Model 3. But at that point it was still quite expensive, so we were still trying to make decisions of what we should and shouldn't, should we buy it or should we not. We test drove the DS, we test drove the Model X, we test drove the Model 3. We did want the DS version, we thought, you know, that was within our price range, but it wasn't available, and I don't think it's been available till actually quite recently. So what we decided after back and forth, that we put a deposit down on the Model 3. So I guess one of the biggest reasons we did choose a Model 3 over other vehicles, electric vehicles, one was because of there wasn't much available a year ago, and the second thing was the Tesla infrastructure in terms of charging and the network, because we wanted to go on long journeys.
Yeah.
And we're based in Gloucester. My parents are down in Bristol. Sophie's parents are on the Isle of Wight, so we do tend to travel up and down the country quite a lot. But initially this car was for you.
Yeah, it was a replacement.
Yeah, a replacement for you, because we had a DS.
A DS?
We had a DS. Okay, so we had a yellow DS. So this car was supposed to be for you because I got my own car, but I guess over the last year we've been using this car more than the other one.
Yeah. So our next question is changing from manual to automatic.
Okay. Well, I guess this one is more for you because I've had an automatic now for what, 5-6 years, and I'd never go back to a manual. But you had a manual.
Yeah, obviously I drove your cars as well, as an automatic, and I did find them easier. Obviously with this replacement it was a car we could both drive, so it needed to be something that you were happy with too.
Yeah, but I guess what was the transition like going from manual to then driving not just a car that's, you know, has autonomous features and you know, self-driving, but also is automatic, completely fully automatic?
I didn't feel it was a huge change between a usual car that's automatic. I found it a lot easier to drive, it's a lot more relaxing.
Yeah. And then I guess what about your commute? Because I guess your commute to work before COVID and everything happened was driving 50 miles a day up and down the M5 to Avonmouth. Like, was that easier? Was it better? Like,
yeah, it's nicer now. You can relax a little bit just let it drive itself to work, really.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I get, so what? So do you drive it manually, or do you? What do you do?
I do drive it manually on certain roads. When I get to the motorway, I usually put it into cruise and just let it drive itself.
Right. And you don't use autopilot?
No, purely because I don't trust it.
Okay. Which is different for me. If I'm driving most places, I'll probably stick it in autopilot and let the car drive itself, especially on the motorways.
Our next question is changing from going to a petrol station versus charging at home.
Yeah, so this one I guess is an interesting one because we still have the other car, which is a petrol. So I'm still going, well, it's a diesel petrol, yeah, you know, it has fuel. So I still have to go to the petrol station when, I guess, when we've been driving this, it's always ready to go. So we've not fully, I guess, really, we're not fully not going to a petrol station. There's still we still have a need to go to them, but I guess when we've been driving this one, it's always ready to go. So when we do long journeys and, you know, we need to get up and go, we can just go rather than having to schedule in the petrol stations or, you know, fueling up.
Well, it's the same as like a commute to work. You don't have to take it into your day of having to stop before or after work to go and fill up.
Yeah.
Saves you that time and that effort.
Yeah, and then I guess in terms, I guess what people will probably want to know is the miles enough? Have we had any? I don't think there's been any scenario when we've ran out of charge.
No. You could, like the same as a petrol car, you can push it as far as you want to push it. If you want to make it down to you're driving on barely anything, you can, but that's just a personal preference. But we've not had any problems.
No, and we've not even been close to running out.
No.
And I guess that helps with the infrastructure because we have used, and we did have, you know, 1,000 miles to use for free. So we used the Supercharger network as much as we could through, I think, the first sort of 6 months of owning the Tesla. And now we've run out of those credits, so it is paid. But, you know, at 24p a kilowatt on a Supercharger is a lot more than being at home and charging. But I guess when we're out, it's convenient and it's quick and it does the job anyway. So
Yeah.
So I think in terms of miles, I've been to London. I've drove this to London and back again, not had any problems. I think for that trip, I went to the Supercharge location just outside of Swindon. So, you know, we use the motorways pretty much on every trip we can. Very rarely that we come off of the motorways if we need to go to big locations. So yeah, I don't think we've really had any problems. And I guess this one doesn't even have the most miles you can get. You know, it's only the standard range. It does 200 and 250, probably more like 220 by the time you charge it fully. Yeah, I think it's been fine. So even with the low range of miles, about 200 miles is fine. I guess probably the biggest thing, the difference is charging this every time you get home versus when you have a petrol diesel car. You probably fill it up maybe once a week or once a month, depending on how many miles you do. When with this, you would just charge it every night like you would with a mobile phone.
It's just a habit thing.
Yeah, which
I think I've forgotten it once, and then I had to stop on the way to work. But once you get into your routine, like your phone, you said, just do it.
Yeah, you just charge it up, and we don't do it, but you can just plug it in and then just set it to automatically charge at, say, midnight. We don't tend to do that. We just kind of charge it as and when we feel, okay, we've got a big journey coming up tomorrow, or we need to go somewhere.
The next question, charging at a Supercharger location.
Okay, well, we just briefly mentioned Supercharge location. I think it's been fine. Like, you just pull up. Like, where we're located, there's not really been... we've never ever gone to a Supercharger location it's been full.
No.
At all. Or not even on any of the journeys we've had. We literally just pull up, charge, and then away we go. And at the beginning, I guess we were trying to use our miles up, so we were charging for sort of 40 minutes at a time. But then the most recent journey that we done, you know, we charged for 10 minutes, and then we went home. So Supercharger locations have been great. I mean, I don't know what that's going to be like when more people come onto the network, and whether or not that's going to be more demanding. But at the moment where we are, a year on, we've not had any problems with supercharging.
Next question, cost of running.
Okay, well, I guess we don't know, I don't know the figures exactly, but in terms of cost of, I guess charging has been very minimal. I think it's a couple of pounds to charge this car fully up to 200 miles every day from home. And then of course the supercharging network is more expensive if we do that, but we rarely do that. In terms of actual cost to the car, nothing, not a penny. We had a couple of issues, one with the wipers weren't working correctly. They came out and changed, I think, the wipers, or they did something with the wipers. Again, that was free, that was under the warranty. And we had one issue with the oil, saying, or the brake fluid issue, and again they came out and changed that for free. So in terms of running this car for the year, other than just charging up, it's been minimal. Nothing whatsoever.
Our next question is trusting the autopilot.
Okay, so I guess this one's probably more for you, but at the start I didn't trust it really at all, and I'm probably still now about 80% in terms of trusting it. There's certain roads where it just doesn't work, but I kind of know when Autopilot's going to fail, which is always a good thing. But I guess from your side, what do you trust it, or do you not?
No, I guess I haven't used it enough to start trusting it, but the few times I do use it, I just have problems with it, and I prefer not to use it in certain areas, like you said, but just I don't really see the point of it at the moment.
Yeah, but you don't even use it on the motorway where it works.
It does, but again, like I've had a few little problems with it, and I just prefer to leave it in cruise. Like, it does a lot for you in cruise control anyway. All you're really doing is steering it, so I think for me that's enough.
You just don't like it when it takes control of the steering wheel?
Yeah, not because it is a trust thing, but it's just I like it to take control if it does what it needs to do. But the times that I've had problems with it, it doesn't do that, so I'd rather just forget about it.
Yeah, and I think I'm probably the opposite, where I will use the full autopilot, or auto steer, and the cruise control, but I don't see the point of just cruise control, because I think if the car is doing one thing for me, then it should just carry on doing it all. But yeah, I mean, if I'm either in full autopilot or I'm driving it manually, and that's how I see it.
Next question is things that we like.
Okay, well, I guess number one, not being able to, not having to go to a petrol station, just being able to charge from your house. Fantastic. The option, I guess, for over-the-air updates, I quite like that as a feature, because when you normally buy a car, whatever you buy on the day that's it, out of the box, that's what you get. But with this, the car is continuously updating, adapting, changing. We're getting new features, it's improving. You know, we had one where we got slightly more miles, and then I guess all the autopilot stuff that's coming on.
I think the main thing that I like about it is the space. Like, we've never had a problem getting anything in here. It's very similar to the size of your car, really, if you think about it, size-wise, inside.
I think, I think the space is good. I mean, we've got, as I said, an SUV, a bigger car, and I think we can probably get more in here than we can with that one. And we've proven that with the various of tasks and projects that we've done for the house. So yeah, I think this is like probably in America somewhere like this is probably a really small car, but in the UK this is a large small car, or like a large saloon car. So yeah, I don't think that's been a problem in terms of space. I guess the screen, I didn't like that originally at the beginning. It was a bit of a weird one, having no dash or no entertainment thing in the middle of the steering wheel. But actually, after a while, you just get used to it, looking over there on the left-hand side, and it just works and everything's there, which is nice. It's like a big giant iPad tablet, so that's probably another thing I like.
TV elements for when you're charging.
Yeah, I think that's what they thought about, like when they've been designing this. They know there's going to be this whole learning curve of, okay, I have to charge my car, so they've made it fun. So like when you are charging, you're not just sat there doing nothing for 20-40 minutes, whatever your charge needs to be. You actually have entertainment and movies and games to play, which I think just makes the experience much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I don't really know why cars haven't had that sort of functionality in the past, which when you look at it now, it just makes sense. And I guess the biggest thing I like is that there's no buttons. Like if you take the Porsche, there's so many buttons in there, all the way down the middle of the unit, in the middle, all over the steering wheel. I don't think it's needed. Not in today's world.
Next question is things we don't like, which you've got for you.
Okay, yeah, so number one, I don't like that the boot doesn't automatically lift up. I mean, it's not the end of the world problem, but it's just something, since we've had premium cars, that it's just nice to have, and it makes it easier just pressing a button and the boot just lifts itself.
Or closes itself.
Or closing is nice, yeah, if you've got your hands full with other stuff, whatever it is, it makes it easier, and you can just get in the car and let it to shut down on its own. I also don't like that when you've got your wipers on and this window is open, for some reason it pushes all the water inside the car. It just drips through right here. It's absolutely just goes everywhere. So if you put the wipers on and you've got your window open, you need to make sure that the window's shut, otherwise you just get wet. And then another one, which is kind of in the boot as well, is if it's been raining and there's water on the back window, when you open the boot, it just all runs into your boot and runs all over your shopping or whatever you have in the boot. So that's something that, and I know they have that on many sports and saloon cars like that, quite expensive cars, but it really should have been a problem that just shouldn't have happened when they done their testing. So yeah, there's probably the only three things I can say I don't like about it.
And our last question, our overall thoughts, and would we go back to an ICE car?
Okay, well you can start with that one.
I think it's a nice car. I enjoy driving it. It's nice, you've got everything you need, and like you said, it's always going to be updating itself. I personally wouldn't go back to a petrol or diesel car, purely for the charging aspect of it.
Yeah, it's cost level as well,
yeah,
but also what it's doing to the environment.
Yeah.
It's just so much cleaner and so much nicer. So yeah, I probably agree with you on those ones. I think probably, and I wouldn't, again, we have another, as I said, we have a diesel car, but we probably will be getting rid of that one at some point and moving over to maybe a Nissan Leaf or something a little bit cheaper, just as a secondary sort of cheap runaround. But I think this car, in a couple of years' time, once the Model Y is available in the UK, we'll probably trade this one in and get the Model Y. One, because it's bigger, and then probably at that point, we'll probably have children, or we'll need a bit more space. And I think having a car that's sort of hiked up and bigger and taller and easier to get in and out, I probably think afford 2 Teslas, then I will keep this one and then get a Model Y as well, instead of getting, say, a Nissan Leaf as a secondary car. But I think for now this does more than enough than we need, and I think even if you had children or you needed to get people in and out, then I think this car meets all of those needs anyway. There's not really an issue.
No.
So yeah, so I wouldn't go back to another petrol diesel car, and definitely will be looking to get rid of my other petrol, my other diesel car as soon as I can. And in terms of overall experience of owning a Tesla Model 3 for the first year, I don't really think I can fault it. I've not had any problems. It's not cost us anything to run this car, in terms of like wear and tear or servicing or MOTs, any of that. I can't fault it. It's been one of the best cars I can probably say I've ever owned.
Yeah.
So that has been our experience of owning a Tesla Model 3 for 1 year. If you have any questions that we didn't answer in this video, because there's probably hundreds of questions that we could have answered, but we probably wouldn't have time for, then post those down in the comments below, and either myself or Sophie will reply to them, or if they are a bigger topic, then we'll make a dedicated video for that one. If you did enjoy the video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you are new around here, why not consider subscribing, because we have plenty more videos on electric vehicles, autonomy and consumer tech. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.